In this video, I'm going to share with you 8 things that beginner photographers are doing and that prevent them from making amazing photographs. When I'm running workshops, I realize that people are always making the same mistakes. And actually, these mistakes can be very easily fixed. And once fixed, they will really help you grow in your photography journey because they will create a very strong basis on your photography, and they will really help you grow exponentially. So it's really important to work on them. So I'm going to walk you through these 8 things, these 8 mistakes during this video. And in the meantime, I'm going to take some few shots here where I am. And as you can see behind me, there's a beautiful mountain. So I am in Sixte Cheval here in France. So this is a crater which is in the Alps and which is very beautiful. So I'm gonna just take some few pics and mostly share with you those 8 things that are really important to know. So I really hope that you'll enjoy this video and that you will learn something. So let's get going. The first mistake that people usually do is not knowing their own camera. You can't even imagine how many people during workshops have no idea about their camera. And they are like, yeah, my camera doesn't do this, it doesn't do that. And then by digging a little bit, because I don't know all the brands, I mean, I'm shooting with Fuji, I know very well Fuji, but I don't really know the other brands. So I dig a little bit with them and like looking on the internet and stuff like this. And finally, we find it out. And then we are comfortable adjusting the camera as we need. And that's something extremely important, because how do you want to take great pictures if you have no idea what your camera can do? Or if you know it can do it, but you don't know how, you're losing time, you're on site, you're not going to take the right shot at the right time because you're going to be like looking into the menu, into the options. So like really get to know your camera as much as you can. And maybe the first thing you can do is download like the guide, or have the guide with you all the time. Like take a look at it when you're not sure, like read the book, or even if you're on workshop, bring it with you, because your instructor might not even know your brand. So that might be helpful for him too. He might know what to look for, but since he doesn't know your brand, he doesn't know how to do it, but might help you very quickly to fix the problem. So really get to know your camera. That's the first and probably one of the most important tips in this whole series. So you might have noticed that I'm staying at the same place for some of my tips here. And this is because I'm shooting with this camera here, the mountain, which is right on my back here. And I'm recording with it, and I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna be careful not to fall. I'm gonna show you here on the side what I'm talking about. So here basically what I'm doing is that I'm shooting the river, which is coming from the outside, also from the mountain, and really getting like long exposure from the river coming on the front and having the mountain on the background. So I started shooting a little bit earlier when the light was a little smoother, because now it's really rough. And so might not be the best, but let's see what it gives. And so this is the type of composition you can do when you're like shooting close to a river or doing something like that. In this case, that's a really cool picture. So I needed to be careful because the water is really flowing and there's a little bit of level. So I don't have my boots on, my rubber boots on. So it can be, I can get very wet very quickly if I do a wrong path. So you need to be very cautious here. But in general, this is the type of composition you can do, and that kind of renders something really great. All right, let's get going and let's speak about some of the other tips.
Miles and miles of the clear blue skies. We drive straight as a narrow flies. Nowhere to be, no dreams to chase tonight. We've got time to waste, let's waste it right.
Another thing I noticed that people are doing or not doing, let's say, is about composition. People are not really trying to find really nice composition when they are photographing. They're just like going to a place, like seeing the big thing, and like they just want to capture the big thing exactly like they would do with their smartphone. And I find that this is a shame because they usually get like amazing cameras, amazing lenses, and they're just like snapping like with a smartphone, as I just said. And it's really important that you learn about composition, that you observe a little bit the place even before you even touch your camera. Like see what could be the thing you want to do, what lens you want to use, whether you want to use a wide angle because you've got a very big mountain, very interesting foreground in the scene. Maybe you want to use like more of a telephoto lens because you've got amazing light and maybe amazing mountains or amazing subject on very far away. Then you want to use this. So try to observe a little bit before even touching your camera. See what is happening in your scene. This is something really important and really something that will help you move ahead. Like there are like plenty of things on the internet, plenty of things on the on YouTube. And by the way, if you want, I have here a video about the golden circle that might be helpful for you in case you're interested in, and that's about composition. So yeah, in case you're interested, feel free to watch it. Another thing I also noticed, and this also relates to composition, this is about sky. People tend to let a lot of sky. So they place themselves, let's imagine with a wide angle, they place themselves low, and then they tend to put the camera higher up so that the camera will really point towards the sky. Sure, skies can be beautiful, but you need to keep everything balanced in your frame. So try not to use too much sky in your frame, because then that might just imbalance and make the picture like uninteresting. Like let's say some people are just letting like 1/3 of the image with the subject, with a mountain or whatever they are capturing, and then the 2/3 are about sky, and they just like create a terrible imbalance that would probably work only if they were like really interesting happening in the sky, like a beautiful sky, maybe a lot of birds and stuff like that. But in most cases, this is not the thing that you want to do when you're doing this. So yeah, really try not to add too much sky. Try to consider the sky as about 1/3 of your image, more or less. So then you need to adjust a little bit, but try to really consider this when you're like shooting landscape photography. So I'm going to continue. I'm going to reach another point where I want to make some few photographs, and I'm going to share with you some other tips there. So I'm going. Beautiful, isn't it? Like a really amazing place. So there's another thing I wanted to share with you, which is the fourth point actually. It's about focusing. Usually people in photography, or at least beginners, are not really confident with focusing, where to focus, how to focus. And this is especially true when they're using a wide angle lens, which really requires some knowledge in certain instances. Where to focus exactly, or should I use a focus stacking, which is kind of a barbarian word sometimes for most beginners, which is actually a fairly simple techniques that consist in combining different types of focus together so that we get a picture which is completely sharp from front to back. But I'm going to touch on this in another video because I don't have time to explain all of this right now. So really learn how to focus. This is one very important thing that will really help you get your picture really, really beautiful and especially sharp. Like no one wants to look at a blurry picture, so learn how to focus. Another point, which is actually something very important and which is actually more relevant and to the person itself, it's about patience. So like I saw many times people who are like impatient. For example, there was on this picture in the Dolomites, where I was like looking for composition. There was a person who was there before me. I thought like, wow, cool, the guy found a really cool composition. Actually, he was not at all looking at the same thing as me. But in the end, I placed myself to a point where I was waiting for a sunburst, because the sun will come out and just like create really a sunburst on an angle of the mountain. And I was waiting for it. The guy saw me, he placed himself next to me, and he waited with me. I waited until it appeared, and the guy just like at the last moment withdrew his tripod, and just at that very right moment, the sunburst appeared. So I was like, that's now. And the guy just had time to put back his tripod and just like took the shot. So in the end, that's important to know that patience is something that will be really fruitful in landscape photography. Coming early before sunrise, waiting a little bit after sunset, this will help you get lights that you were not expecting. Like so many times people just see the sunset and then they just leave. So don't be that person. Be the photographer that wants the best picture and wait a little bit. Like be patient, wait for things, plan well as well. That's important. So that's actually my next point, my fifth point. Like people don't really plan. When you go to a new location, like plan your trip. Just like set all the points where you want to see, that you want to see, and when to go there. Like you can use an app like PhotoPills, for example, that will help you to know when the sun will be highlighting the place, what will be the direction of the sun, at what time will be the sunrise, at what time will be the sunset. All of these are very important things that you need to know before going on location, so that you make sure you get the best light, you get everything perfect as you wish. And hopefully, if you plan even better, you look at the meteo and you look at the weather forecast very well. Like you can use an app like Windy, which is, in my opinion, one of the most accurate today. And that will really help you know if there will be low clouds, like high clouds, how will be the weather, if it will be rainy or not. All of these are important things. So really plan very well your trip, or when you're going out just even in your local area. Like plan all of these very well so that you make sure you get the best shot you can in a place where you are, and you put all the chances on your side. So that's really great. So like now I'm gonna try to go a little bit down here, because I see that there is some river movement that will look a little bit like the shot I took earlier, but since I'm much closer from the mountain, that might even give a kind of a different atmosphere and something really interesting. But I need to speed up because now the sun is fairly high and I'm not sure I'm gonna get the light I want. But still, going down there and talk to you in a bit. So I finally came down, and I mean, this is just a wonderful place because you just have the river right in front of the mountain, and the very peak, like right on my back, like that one. This is just wonderful. And basically, so I'm not sure if you can see my camera, but it's just behind me here. It's close to the water right now. And what I'm doing, so it's a little bit like I did before. I place my camera close to the water in the direction of the flowing water. And in this case, I used a ND3 filter because the light is strong and I wanted to slow down the speed so that I can have a long exposure on the water. And on top of that, I used a circular polarizer filter, a CPL filter, so that I could just cut the reflection that the sun has on the water, the strong reflections, so that it gets like a little bit more neutral image. So it's something really important to use in this kind of situations. Not mandatory, but something important to use in these situations. And I guess you can see here on the image what I'm doing. So basically there is the water flowing on the bottom, and I try to find like a nice path of water, then the river on the back, and then the peak, which is highlighted, I mean not highlighted, but the peak which is on the background and which is obviously our main subject. So really something nice to have. So now let me talk about the seventh thing that, or mistake that people make, and that I actually think could really improve their photograph or even your photographs, this is the fact that people use, or in composition, they forget to look at the side of their images. So if the bottom or the sky are kind of okay, usually that's fine. On the side of the images, like many times, there can be a lot of things that are like happening and that are unwanted in a picture, and that kind of distract the images. That can be branches, that can be a house which is cut in half, like, or just a part of a house, or a stone that's not well placed. Like there are like kind of a lot of things that can be just some grass that are going out from the ground, and like just like in the foreground, and that's like really something annoying that you have in your frame that you need to consider. So like in order not to have to remove this thing afterwards in post-processing, just take care of them while you're on site. Just like avoid them, just like try to have a clean picture when you're doing it. It's something extremely important. If you look at these few pictures I'm showing now, like I try to have them all clean so that I don't have any elements that doesn't look right or like look a little weird in the picture. That's something that really will improve your images. You might not think of it right now, but with the experience, you will realize, oh my God, why did I not do this earlier in my photography? That would have really improved everything. So really take care of this, and you will see a big jump in your photographs, and really a big jump. You don't realize it now, but this will help you a lot. And another thing, which is actually the last thing and the last mistake that people do, is I'm not sure if it's not wanting or not willing to, I'm not sure what exactly, but it's about editing. Like people are not willing to edit their images, or they don't want to edit their images in landscape photography. And I find it as a big mistake, because like you don't have to edit like Max Wright, for example, who like on Instagram he does like a great stuff, but I mean it's not for everyone, and I understand this. But like if you shoot in RAW with your camera, you will shoot in RAW, and then you will edit your photographs. You will really bring up the light, bring up the a little bit of saturation, the colors and everything, and it will all look much better than if you just shoot JPEG. And so that kind of goes hand in hand. Shoot in RAW and learn how to edit your picture. As I said, you don't have to be a professional here. Like learn the basic of editing, like just to pop your images enough so that they look nice, that you can print them either on a wall, either on a book. This is up to you, but like it will really, really improve your photographs and really give you this little feeling of satisfaction when you have like a complete picture, which in my opinion, a picture ends when it's sorry, there are bugs around. A picture ends when it is really like finished editing, like you will have a complete product then. That's really great. So these are actually the 8 tips, things I wanted to share with you that I think that will really improve your photographs as a beginner, and that you should really consider and take care of when taking your picture. And once you have all these bases, once you know all of this, it will all flow very naturally, and it will all get better naturally. So you should really go for it and really enjoy it as much as you can, but really learn these basics. So with that, I hope that you learned something and that was very helpful for you. And I wish you good luck with your photography, and see you next week for new adventures.